We've conquered the wilderness to the extent we've had to invite it back. We want to enjoy wilderness without being overcome by it, without losing our civilization. And because our Western civilization is unusual and new, it may be the cutting edge of future ones. We like to think of it this way, that the southwestern United States is the edge of that cutting edge, especially Southern California. This feeling about Southern California lends excitement to living here, whether we work with our hands, our brains, our hearts, or all three. Whether we are civil servants, businessmen, students, farmers, artists, laborers, or none of the above. Whether we're starting our lives here or ending them here. Philosopher Will Durant has described civilization as the freedom to concentrate on the inessentials of life. The essentials are what keep us alive. The inessentials are what make life worth living. The essentials can't absorb all our thoughts and efforts, or we are primitive people and not civilized folk. But we must not take them too much for granted. Aside from air, oxygen, the stuff we breathe, there is one essential that is only slightly secondary. We have to have it if we're going to be civilized, and we have to have it if we're going to survive. And that essential is water. This housewife may not be any more civilized than most, but let's say she's better off than most. She wonders about things. Will she have time to get her laundry done? Not will there be water to do it in. Is her pool clean for the party? Not was there water enough to fill it. When she worries about her guests having something to drink, she's thinking about wine, not water. These are proper concerns for a civilized hostess whose caviar costs $6 an ounce and whose water supply costs 12 cents a ton. But water runs deeper and supports civilization in a far broader way. It feeds industry, helping to nourish and cool it and clean it. It takes 60,000 gallons of water to produce a ton of steel. Water also provides something essential to life itself, and that is food. Without water, Central and Southern California would have remained dry and dusty. With water, California supplies 40% of all fresh fruits and vegetables eaten in the country, and 25% of everything that is eaten in the country. California leads all other states in farm and food production, not because of its natural characteristics, but in spite of them. For California is upside down. 75% of the state's water lies north of Sacramento. 75% of its need for water lies south of it. Those of us who live south of Sacramento may consider ourselves blessed with water, but in truth, most of us are near desert folk. Our rainfall is limited, our springs are depleted, and our rivers invisible most months of the year. The water we enjoy had to be gone after and brought in, or many of us would still be back where our parents came from. Now we have water, and there's some little story behind it. The first example of going and getting water was the Los Angeles Aqueduct. By 1907, settlers on the Los Angeles River had drunk it dry. The city found water far to the north in the Owens Valley, bought it and brought it down. This water from the Sierras followed a natural course downhill to Los Angeles, and it greened the fields in the city. Only 15 years later, cities around Los Angeles also found themselves running short of water. With approval of the state legislature, they formed themselves an alliance in 1928 called the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. Their search for water led them east this time, to the Colorado River. To bring water 240 miles west across desert and over 5 mountain ranges was the most difficult aqueduct project ever attempted. The route was not a natural one. It was not downhill. The project started with a $220 million bond issue passed during the Great Depression. Work on the Colorado River Aqueduct required this kind of dedication and sweat, and it took 9 years until 1941 before the first of the water nourished Southern California's civilization. Workers old and honored now were young and muscular then.
And you had to be a jack of all trades. You were called upon to do almost any kind of a job, probably something that you had never done before in your life, but somehow or other you found out how to do it.
I was a foreman of the outfit and general foreman. I had men work for me that were electrical engineers, civil engineers, and even this editor of the New Electrical World was out there working as a groundman. And in those days, we were getting $4.80 a day. That is the ordinary working men. And out there, of course, you didn't, in the construction days, you didn't have, like you can now, go to the warehouse and get whatever you need to fix it. You had to improvise most of it.
Well, I went out there in '29, and I was 27 years old. I don't think I had any real expensive birthday parties while I was out on the desert for 4 or 5 years.
Well, we had a lot of fun with it.
Today, the Colorado River Aqueduct still stands as a colossal and continuing engineering marvel. The first step was to civilize the Colorado River, a destructive red flood that tore the Grand Canyon out of Arizona. One of the major calming influences was Parker Dam. If Parker doesn't look like much, it's because, like an iceberg, there's much, much more of it below the surface than meets the eye. It's the world's deepest dam. The lake above Parker is Havasu, which means blue in the Mojave language. It was named by an astonished old chief in the 1930s whose ancestors had seen nothing but red water for centuries. Those tubular fingers are the beginnings of a river headed west. It starts, as no other kind of river does, uphill. To flow uphill, water must be pushed by man, and this time by electrical power, not his muscle. This is the Whitsett Intake Pumping Plant, the first of 5 pumping plants on the aqueduct that transports water from Lake Havasu into Southern California. The plant consists of 9 pumping units. Its maximum pumping capacity is about 1 billion gallons a day. The Colorado Aqueduct is a man-made river. It is hoisted up this mountain and tunneled through the side of it where it finds Jean Village, a small and single-minded community, field headquarters of the Metropolitan Water District. It is then pumped up another mountain and tunneled through to where it finds Dick Johnson. Dick Johnson is sole guardian of the Copper Basin Reservoir. "600 feet above Havasu, he and his family are isolated by the slanting cliffs of the Whipple Mountains. Using a World War II landing craft, he patrols the lake in solitude. I could have been a hermit if I hadn't married," he says. "Fortunately, my kids like to hike, and my wife and I like the quiet beauty of Copper Basin."